The story starts with a boy named Kirusu waking up to the sound of his alarm clock. He finds himself beside a girl named Mia who belongs to a non-human species. Her upper body resembles that of a woman, while her lower body is like that of a snake. Mia gives Kirusu a strong hug as he attempts to get up, with his face accidentally ending up between her two prominent body features. Kirusu feels overwhelmed and fears he might lose consciousness, so he desperately asks her to release him. Mia hugged him tighter. Kirusu took the chance to gently rub her tail, which excited her and made her release her hold on him. He attempted to move away, but she once more caught him, placing his face between her melon, eventually letting him go after a while. Kirusu appears breathless and blushing. Each room in Kirusu's spacious house is designed to accommodate Mia's large, snake-like body. When Kirusu heads to the bathroom, Mia follows him, causing him to feel embarrassed. He attempts to leave, but Mia prevents him, insisting they bathe together. She holds him by the waist and presses her breasts against his back. Kirusu tells her it's against the law, but she doesn't pay heed. Ultimately, Kirusu has to depart, leaving Mia quite unhappy. As he exits the bathroom, he repeatedly bangs his head in frustration, distressed by the legal prohibition that prevents humans from engaging in intimate activities with non-human species. However, Mia continues to seduce Kirusu as he prepares breakfast. While he listens to the news, the reporter announces that a new law has been passed, allowing humans to interact with non-human species. Non-human beings like Mia have slowly integrated into human culture without causing significant issues. Kirusu turns off the television, recalling how his morning had been a disaster. Suddenly, he is shocked to see his coordinator, Smith, who had entrusted him with the care of Mia. Smith is here to ensure that Kirusu has not engaged in any prohibited activities, including causing harm to non-human species in any way and refraining from having an intimate relationship with them. As Kirusu assures Smith that he has not violated any of the established rules, Mia suddenly appears. She seizes Kirusu by her tail and instructs Smith to depart, which he does. Once they are alone, Mia questions Kirusu about the significance of avoiding any illegal activities. She confides in him, expressing her fear that he might reject her due to the disgust many humans feel towards her body upon first sight. She passionately declares her deep love for him and mentions that she's willing to endure any pain, even if he were to hurt her. She invites him to be close by hugging him tightly with her tail, but her grip is so strong that it dislocates Kirusu's shoulder. Later, Smith has to help him adjust it. Before Kirusu and Mia go on their date, Smith advises Kirusu to always stay by Mia's side and avoid taking her to a love hotel. During their date, Mia and Kirusu visit various shops, and towards the end, Mia takes Kirusu to a lingerie store. Kirusu is hesitant to stay, but Mia insists and even brings him into the changing room, asking for his opinion on which bra she should buy. In the process, Kirusu accidentally takes Mia's panties with him, wondering if her snake-like body needs underwear. Mia quickly takes back her panties, calling him a pervert. During the date, a couple harasses Mia for calling Kirusu darling. Enraged, Mia attacks them with her tail, but Kirusu intervenes and receives the attack instead. Mia is shocked to see Kirusu hurt, and he tells her that humans and non-human species can't hurt each other by law. As Kirusu has received the strong hit from Mia many times, people gather to take their pictures and are amazed to learn that Mia and Kirusu are together. Feeling uncomfortable with the attention, Mia asks Kirusu to take her somewhere private. The only nearby private place happens to be a hotel, so they both go there. In the hotel room, Kirusu successfully restrains his desires, while Mia tells him that she doesn't mind if he gets intimate with her or even hurts her, as she lies half defenseless on the bed. However, their encounter is interrupted when Smith arrives and arrests them. As they leave the hotel, they encounter the same couple that had previously mocked Mia, and they harass her once more. Enraged, Kirusu punches the man so hard that his nose begins to bleed. Upon returning home, Mia asks Kirusu why he hit the man. Kirusu explains that he believes perverts like him deserve to be punished, and he couldn't stand by while a man was harassing a girl. Hearing this, Mia becomes emotional and hugs Kirusu tightly. She then extends another invitation to be intimate with her. However, their moment is abruptly interrupted by the sudden appearance of Smith, who requests something for dinner. The next morning, another non-human bird-like species named Pappy arrives at Kirusu's home. She has the lower body of an eagle and the upper body of a woman. Surprisingly, she takes Kirusu with her, leaving Mia shocked and angry. Pappy takes Kirusu to her tree, and he asks her where her caretaker is. She tells him that from now on, he is her caretaker. Kirusu is annoyed, and she then takes him to an ice cream stall. As they both enjoy ice cream on a bench, Pappy confides in Kirusu that she has run away from her coordinator many times and has been warned that she'll be deported if she runs away again. Kirusu tells her that she's in significant trouble. Upon hearing Kirusu's warning, the ice cream cone slips from Pappy's eagle-like arms, and she cries in disappointment, having not even taken a bite. In a kind gesture, Kirusu offers his bar-shaped ice cream to her, which excites her. As Kirusu brings the ice cream to her mouth, Pappy gets on her knees and starts licking the bar without even holding it. This draws the attention of onlookers who mistakenly label Kirisu a pervert. He hesitates to let Pappy continue, so he removes the bar from her mouth, causing the white cream to fall on her face, making her look messy. Feeling messy, Pappy decides to bathe in a nearby fountain, unaware of social norms. Kirisu realizes that she has yet to adapt to human culture. Mia, who is feeling jealous, arrives at the scene, and both girls start fighting over Kirisu. Suddenly, they hear a scared little girl crying, who is stuck on a tree branch. Mia and Pappy see this as an opportunity to impress Kirisu and rush to save the girl. As Pappy tries to fly, she falls due to her wet wings. Mia climbs the tree to rescue the girl, but she accidentally startles her, causing her to fall. Pappy somehow manages to fly and catch the falling girl, but her added weight makes her descent too fast. In a split second, Kirisu leaps beneath them and saves the girl from hitting the ground. A police officer arrives, and the trio informs him that the girl he's looking for is already safe. Seeing two non-human species, the officer asks about their caretakers. Kirisu nervously states that he is taking care of both of them. The officer then requests custody papers, which leaves Kirisu in a state of anxiety as he doesn't have custody of Pappy. However, Smith arrives with the necessary custody papers, saving the day. As they head back home, they inquire from Smith how she managed to arrive with custody papers so quickly. Smith explains to Kirisu that she is the coordinator for Pappy, who has a history of running away numerous times. That's why she had the custody papers ready to assign her care to Kirisu, hoping she wouldn't run away again. Upon hearing this, Pappy becomes excited and takes Kirisu to the washroom to have him help her clean up. As they leave, Smith asks Mia if she's comfortable with Pappy living in their home. Mia explains that Pappy is a minor, which is why she isn't jealous of her. But Smith says to Mia that Pappy may look small, but is actually the same age as her. This makes Mia angry, so she quickly goes to the bathroom to make sure Pappy and Kirisu are separated. The next morning, Kirisu goes out for grocery shopping, and on his way back, he meets a large horse-like girl named Centauria. Unfortunately, she also insists on making Kirisu her master. Smith, who happens to be on leave that day, asks Kirisu to take care of Centauria, which annoys him. While Kirisu and Centauria are in conversation, a robber suddenly snatches a lady's purse. Centauria swiftly draws her sword and gives chase to the robber. Centauria can't use her weapon against a human, so Kirisu must accompany her. He rides on her back as she runs at an incredibly high speed. While riding, Kirisu is worried he might fall, so he grips Centauria tightly and asks her to slow down. The robber is on a bike with Centauria right behind him. As Centauria's speed increases on a busy road, Kirisu accidentally grabs her by her chest, confusing her and causing her to lose control. Her shirt gets ripped off, and her sword is lost somewhere in the chaos. Meanwhile, the robber also meets an accident as Kirisu and Centauria hit a shop's entrance gate and both fall. As Centauria moves forward to confront Kirisu for his inappropriate touch, the robber reappears with the fake sword and attacks her. However, Kirisu intervenes, taking the attack on himself and earning Centauria's respect. She then accompanies him back to his home. Kirisu later learns from Smith that the sword was indeed fake and that riding a Centauria without being their legal master is considered a serious offense. Kirisu is shocked by the revelation and quickly asks for Centauria's forgiveness for riding her without permission. She readily forgives him and, to his surprise, declares that she has chosen him as her master. Suddenly, Mia and Pappy appear and express their disappointment in Kirisu for bringing another girl into the picture. The next day starts with a fight between Mia and Centauria, while Pappy is tired of learning all the human rules. She decides to cool down by taking a bath, and Kirisu joins her. During the bath, Pappy tries to seduce him, causing Kirisu to panic. Centauria intervenes and takes Kirisu out of the house. As Centauria and Kirisu have a conversation, she tells him that she will always be a loyal knight to him and protect him at any cost. Kirisu suggests that she should also enjoy her life beyond being a knight. Centauria then asks him to hold her hand because she wants to experience what it feels like. As Kirisu grabs her hand, she blushes and asks him not to even look at her red face. Suddenly, Mia and Pappy arrive, and the three of them start fighting over Kirisu, each claiming him as their own. Smith, passing by, stops the fight by shooting 3 tranquilizer darts, but accidentally, Kirisu ends up getting hit and goes unconscious. When Kirisu wakes up at home, he finds Smith by his side. He notices the 3 girls hiding behind a door, looking remorseful. The 3 of them apologize to him for their previous behavior and promise to control themselves in the future. However, Kirisu asks them not to hold back because they're a family, and he has already forgiven them. To their surprise, Smith informs them about an amendment in the law that allows humans to marry non-human species. Furthermore, Kirisu is told that he will have to marry one of the 3 girls in his home. He's given some time to decide who it's going to be. Tusu is devastated by this news, and then Smith leaves. On a full moon night, the girls lose control of their desires and embark on a mission to seduce Kirisu. First, Mia jumps on him, followed by Pappy breaking through the window, and finally, Centaurea joins in. They fight over Kirisu's attention, and he contacts Smith for guidance on what to do. Smith advises him to make a final decision to end the fighting in the morning. With numerous bandages from last night's fights, Kirisu tells the girls that from that day onward, he will date them all as potential marriage partners. However, due to his injuries, he collapses. Each girl starts thinking of ways to win the position of being Kirisu's wife. Kirisu later prepares dinner for everyone and calls them to eat. Surprisingly, Mia is attacked by a slime when she opens the pot, and she falls sick. Kirisu wonders why a slime appeared out of nowhere. That night, another slime attacks Kirisu, and Centaurea tries to protect him. Centaurea and Kirisu, not having accurate knowledge about slimes, end up fighting one. During the struggle, they both get covered in slime, and their bodies become slimy. Kirisu takes a bath to clean up. While Kirisu is cleaning up, Centaurea knocks and seeks permission to enter. He allows her, but she enters without clothes, causing Kirisu to panic. He asks her to at least put on something, but she steps closer and asks if he could help her clean up, which he eventually does. They both enter the bathtub. In the midst of their conversation, Kirisu asks what might be the reason behind multiple slimes showing up. Centaurea suggests they might be attracted to water. Speaking of water, they suddenly realize that a slime is present in the bathroom. Slime initially attacks Centaurea, causing her to lose consciousness. Then, the slime unexpectedly grabs Kirisu. Surprisingly, the slime is also in the form of a girl and begins to clean Kirisu. Kirisu realizes that this slime girl is not a threat and is trying to communicate by mimicking actions in their home. Some of her actions are flirtatious, which makes Kirisu uncomfortable. She hugs him tightly, making it hard for him to breathe. In desperation, Kirisu jumps into the bathtub to catch his breath. However, the slimy girl begins to melt into the bathtub, losing her body shape. After some time, Kirisu takes her out of the bathtub. He informs the other girls about the presence of the slimy girl, and they provide her with a raincoat to cover her body. Pappy quickly befriends the slimy girl and gives her the name Sue. Mia and Centaurea suggest that Kirisu should contact Smith and inform her about Sue. Since they don't know Sue's origin, they are concerned about the legal implications of having another non-human girl in the house, which could create problems later on. As they discuss this, Pappy flies away with Sue, and Kirisu chases after them in a state of panic. After some time, Kirisu comes across a river and notices Pappy still flying in the air with Sue clinging to her feet. He observes that Sue is becoming increasingly anxious as they approach the river from a considerable height. Sue falls onto Kirisu as he stands beneath her, and Pappy runs towards Sue, asking her if she's fine. Kirisu realizes that Sue had melted in the bathtub earlier, and she likely thought she would die when they approached the river. This fear and anxiety led to her struggles, and Pappy couldn't handle her anymore. Suddenly, some kids appear and ask Pappy to play with them, as they have brought water guns. Pappy joins them, and Sue fills herself with water to become larger and also joins the fun. They all run around while playing, and Kirisu follows them. However, the same couple who initially harassed Mia is seen driving recklessly. Unfortunately, they lose control of the car when a child playing comes in front of them. Sue unexpectedly saves the child by taking the full impact of the car. Kirisu sees Sue stuck to the wall after saving the child, and the wall then breaks because of the car's impact. Sue falls into the river, and Pappy tries to save her but loses her grip, believing Sue has died. Kirisu, however, manages to save Sue by driving a car into the river. Pappy becomes overjoyed and hugs Sue. Kirisu takes Pappy and Sue back home and tells Mia and Centaurea over the phone that they don't need to report Sue to Smith. Sue hasn't done anything wrong, she just lacks common sense, and they can help teach her basic common sense by playing the roles of mother and father. They decide to keep her presence a secret from Smith. However, when Kirisu returns home, he is shocked to find that Smith is already there, and she sees Sue with him, leaving him in a state of surprise. Kirisu and his girls prepare to defend themselves against the government, who have detected Sue's illegal presence in the home. Many laborers enter Kirisu's house and begin breaking down the walls. However, the people who came to the house aren't there to arrest anyone or cause any harm. They're actually there to construct a special room that's waterproof. The girls are worried that government officers might come and arrest them, so they decide to take Sue and go back to their home. When Sue gets thirsty, she starts licking Pappy's sweaty skin. They realize that when they're sweaty, something happens. While Kirisu searches the city to find the girls, he encounters a mermaid in a wheelchair named Merau. After a brief conversation, she informs him that she saw the girls he is looking for. Following her lead, Kirisu eventually finds the girls hiding from the government officials in a jungle. Centaurea accidentally hits a water tap, causing it to leak and making her wet. Seeing this, Sue enters her rump area to absorb the water, and then she moves to Mia and dehydrates all three of them in a matter of seconds. Upon spotting Meroun and Kirusu, Sue even attempts to attack Meroun. In response, Kirusu traps Sue in a plastic bag to prevent her from causing any harm. However, when they return home, they are surprised to learn that the construction of the new room wasn't for Sue, it was for Meroun, a new non-human fish-like species admitted into Kirusu's home. Mia is the most jealous of all the girls because she thinks there is a new romantic rival in their home. In a fit of jealousy, Mia breaks Meroun's wheelchair and Kirusu tries to carry Meroun to her room. This leads to the girls creating a mess at home out of anger as they believe that Kirusu is trying to be intimate with Meroun. Kirusu clarifies that he is helping until a new wheelchair arrives. He will have to carry Meroun. As Kirusu carries Meroun, her blouse accidentally comes into his hands, and she explains that because her mermaid body is always covered in mucus, her clothes sometimes come off automatically. Kirusu then takes her to the room. Jealous Mia tries to distract Kirusu, first by covering her body in slime in the hope that Kirusu will bathe with her. Then, she increases the AC temperature in Meroun's room to make her catch a cold. However, her attempts fail as Kirusu doesn't bathe with her, and Meroun's body resists the cold temperatures. Mia then teams up with the other girls to clear her path, but she becomes angry when she sees Pappy trying to play with Meroun, thinking that Pappy has changed sides. Later, Meroun reveals to the girls that mermaids have always adored humans. She shares a sad love story of a mermaid who fell in love with a human but couldn't be together. Initially, Mia and Centaurea were against Meroun, but when they talk to her, Meroun compliments Centaurea for being a loyal savior to Kirusu, which makes Centaurea lose herself in her thoughts. Mia brings her back to reality. When Kirusu arrives, he leaves with Meroun to her room, carrying her. Mia then tells Centaurea that it was her dream to be carried by her master, and seeing Meroun in Kirusu's hands makes her sad. She cries, suggesting that Meroun should seduce Kirusu by wearing a swimsuit. Centaurea adds that she should wear a swimsuit too. Mia then puts on a swimsuit and sees Kirusu sitting by a swimming pool with Meroun. She attempts to seduce him and invites him to swim with her. Just then, Centaurea enters wearing the shortest swimsuit a girl could ever wear. Pappy also arrives to find Sue, but Mia asks them to leave. As they depart, Kirusu and Meroun accidentally fall into the pool. Mia jumps in to save Kirusu, however, her body temperature drops and she fears she might die. Kirusu rescues her and brings her out of the pool. Seeing Mia sick, Meroun hugs her to warm Mia's cold body. Kirusu then asks Mia to take a warm bath and Meroun joins her. While in the bathtub, Mia apologizes to Meroun for her earlier rudeness. She also tells Meroun that she won't let her marry Kirusu. Meroun clarifies that she never intended to marry Kirusu. Instead, she just wants a tragic love, much like the sad love story famous among the mermaids. Centaurea and Pappy listen secretly, while Kirusu believes they have become friends. Mia attempts to charm Kirusu by making breakfast for everyone. Unfortunately, she's terrible at cooking and ends up burning both of her hands badly. After the incident, Mia locks herself in her room, which prompts Kirusu to try to calm her down. However, when he enters her room, Mia reveals that she is shedding her snake skin and doesn't want Kirusu to see it because she finds it embarrassing. Since she can't do it alone, Kirusu decides to help her. He carefully comes to her bedside and starts assisting her with the process. Everything goes smoothly until Mia uses her tail to cover Kirusu's eyes, and he accidentally touches her private area, causing Mia to scream loudly. After successfully peeling off her skin, Mia decides to cook for him again as a reward. The other monster girls also arrive at the table, but they are disgusted by the smell and appearance of the food. Later, Pappy informs everyone that she's about to lay an egg. Upon hearing this, the girls prepare to confront Kirusu, thinking he couldn't keep his cucumber in his pants. However, Pappy explains that harpies lay eggs from time to time, similar to chickens. Suddenly, a strange man appears at their door, claiming to be a director making a documentary on interspecies exchange. However, as he records the girls, he starts asking inappropriate questions, revealing his true intentions. His main objective is to record videos of the girls and sell them for huge profits. He also tries to take the snake skin that Mia had peeled off, claiming it will contribute to scientific discoveries. Meanwhile, Pappy's egg starts to hatch, and everyone rushes to help, especially Kirusu, who acts like a father during the childbirth. The director rushes to record this scene, and while he is recording, Sue reveals her new ability to read minds. She reads the director's mind, exposing his evil intentions. The girls are furious, and Kirusu attacks the man by throwing an egg at him. The man thinks it's Pappy's egg, but Kirusu punches him in his disgusting face, knocking him out. After that, Pappy finally lays her huge egg after much discomfort. During dinner, Smith joins them, and Kirusu asks Pappy where she put her egg. Pappy reveals that it's in the fridge. Meanwhile, Mia is shown boiling a large egg, which scares Kirisu. The scene then cuts to the director in his house, where it is revealed that he is taking care of a spider-like monster girl. Upon hearing about Kirisu, the girl shoots her white liquid at the man and then leaves to find the boy. The next morning, a manga store is shown where a group of armed orcs causes chaos by taking hostages. The government can't find any option to defeat the orcs because humans can't harm non-human species. Therefore, the government calls upon Agent Smith and her team of special monster girls. As Smith sends her team in, Zambina is found by the orcs and killed. Suddenly, the orcs spot a random girl in the store who resembles one of their favorite manga characters, prompting them to capture her. The girl cries for help from the window to avoid harm. Seeing the girl asking for help, Monaco, who is positioned a mile away, shoots at the store using her sniper. Meanwhile, a giant transformer breaks in and swiftly takes down 2 of the orcs. As the orcs panic, Zambina, who was thought to be dead, gets up and defeats 2 more orcs. The last orc uses a hostage as a shield. However, he receives a powerful kick to the face. The girl held hostage is also an agent named Doppel. Agent Smith arrives, and the remaining orcs surrender. Back at Kirisu's house, Smith pays them a visit and also invites the 4 monster girls. After that, the agent girls are sent to the director's home, where he is still stuck in a web cocoon. The agent girls detect the presence of another monster girl. Eventually, Monaco finds the spider girl on the roof, but she misses the shot with her sniper. Meanwhile, Kirisu goes to the market at night. Pappy and Sue bring food that they found outside the house, not realizing that the food was brought by Kirisu, who is nowhere to be seen. Kirisu is held captive, and Ratchnara surprises him. A small guard appears and searches the warehouse, so Ratchnara carries Kirisu to the ceiling to hide. The guard finds the place creepy and leaves. Ratchnara almost throws Kirisu to the ground from the ceiling but then catches him. When asked why she isn't with her caretaker, she shares her story, explaining that the family who took her didn't approve of her appearance, resulting in mistreatment. Eventually, the fat director offered to become her host, but he turned out to be an ugly, disgusting creep. Kirisu shows compassion, which angers her as she accuses him of pretending to like her, claiming that his interest lies solely in her human body parts. Just then, government agents arrive, stating their intention to arrest the person responsible for harming the director. Kirisu mistakenly believes they are after him because he hit the director earlier when Pappy was laying an egg. He convinces Ratchnara to flee while he surrenders. This selfless act makes Ratchnara happy, and she develops feelings for him. Eventually, things settle down, and Agent Smith apologizes to Ratchnara for what she previously had to bear through. As compensation, Ratchnara requests to live in Kirisu's house, which Smith approves without hesitation. The next morning, Kirisu wakes up with his alarm, and when he tries to turn it off, he accidentally grabs one of Centoria's melons, scaring him. At the breakfast table, Kirisu serves breakfast to everyone, and Ratner praises his efforts. The arrival of the new member sparks discussions in the home, and Mia becomes extremely jealous of her new rival, especially due to her naughty habits. The other monster girls have no objections to the newcomer joining. Mia initially thinks of gaining Pappy's support but sees Sue and Pappy playing with Ratchnara. Mia's last hope becomes Centoria, but Centoria also has no objection to Ratner living in the home. Meanwhile, Kirisu causes some noise, alerting the others for some reason. Ratchnara has tied and blindfolded Kirisu in the bathroom, claiming that she was in the washroom when Kirisu came. Mia scolds her, but Centoria asks Ratchnara to lock the door next time at night. Ratchnara attacks Kirisu again, hoping to finally sleep with him so she can read him bedtime stories. However, Centoria intervenes and takes him away, revealing that she dislikes Ratchnara because of how she treats him. As Centoria runs with Kirisu on her back, people stare at her. Suddenly, some OTS workers appear and express their wish to drink some of the fluids that she's carrying. Due to the law, Centoria is unable to fight back. Just as they are about to act, Ratchnara appears and frightens them, trapping them all in her white strings. Centoria questions Ratchnara about breaking the law, but Ratchnara simply states that as long as nobody finds out, there's no problem. Eventually, Centoria opens up about her true feelings towards Ratchnara. However, Ratchnara explains that not liking someone is normal, and they end up leaving with their relationship improved. The next morning, Kirisu falls ill and needs to stay in bed. The girls want to take care of him, but Agent Smith arrives and claims that it's a new virus resulting from the coexistence of humans with monsters. Smith insists on taking care of him, but the house needs to be quarantined, and all the girls should keep their distance from Kirisu as the virus can spread. Eventually, the girls realize that Sue has the least chance of catching any diseases because her body is a slime, so she can take care of Kirisu. The plan is to teach Sue how to take care of Kirisu, and he will then just copy them. She attempts to apply everything she has learned but makes the situation even worse. The other girls also realize that they can't teach her anything valuable, so Kirisu's condition doesn't improve. To understand what Kirisu is feeling, Sue places her tentacle on his head. In reality, he doesn't have a dangerous virus but rather a fever from being cold. It is then revealed that the previous day, Sue was trapped in a place due to the rain, and Kirisu went to help her by giving her his umbrella. However, he got wet in the process, resulting in his illness. Sue soaks the cold from Kirisu's body, transferring it to hers so she won't get sick, and this is how she finally brings Kirisu back to health. The other girls enter the room and are surprised by what they see. Sue speaks normally as if she has learned the language. However, now that Kirisu is healthy, Smith falls sick. Oddly, Smith reaches out to Kirisu for a meeting in a cafe, and the girls mistake it for a date, suspecting Kirisu of infidelity. Initially, Meron attempts to blend in by posing as a waitress, but her presence disrupts the cafe as other patrons can't help but stare. This leads to Smith and Kirisu deciding to leave the cafe. Upon exiting, Kirisu spots a girl who bears a resemblance to Pappy, but upon closer examination, he notices her hands, realizing that she's not Pappy. In reality, Pappy was spying on them with Sue assisting her by concealing her hands under her dress. As Centauria calls Pappy to inquire about her findings, Sue takes the phone inside her slimy body and positions it at the entrance of Pappy's location. When the phone vibrates, Pappy becomes quite emotional, catching everyone's attention. Smith and Kirisu sit alone and desire some ice cream. Centauria and Mia disguise themselves to deliver ice cream to him. Kirisu finds it unusual that he's seeing so many familiar faces today. However, many other people gather around the ice cream truck, not for the ice cream but for the milk. Smith becomes irritated by the noise, so they leave the area. Eventually, Mia spies on them, but she encounters Ratchnara, who uses her skills to track the two down. Mia attempts to enter Kirisu's bedroom through the window, but unexpectedly, Mia and Ratchnara are pulled inside by agents of Smith who point guns at them. It turns out that the entire setup was a plan to protect Kirisu because he had received a death threat from someone named A, warning him that he would die if he married one of the girls. They had organized the date so that the sender could attack them, and they could finally identify who he is. However, things didn't go as planned, and their plan failed. Agent Smith offers the girls the opportunity to take turns and go on a date with Kirisu to lead the culprit out. It's Mia's turn, but Meron also joins her because she desires to become Kirisu's mistress. They decide to visit a park with numerous aquariums filled with fish. Meron is treated like a goddess there since she's also a fish, and she gives Kirisu and Mia a card that grants them access to anywhere they want to go. After a while, Meron leaves Mia alone with Kirisu, and they have a great time together. They visit an aquarium and witness two fish kissing, which leads to Mia and Kirisu sharing a kiss. However, Meron interrupts and reveals that the fish are both males, which infuriates Mia, and she blames Meron for ruining the moment. Later, Mia puts on a show with some dolphins, which impresses Kirisu. Mia becomes jealous and walks away. She bumps into a lizard man who sympathizes with her as they both feel cold in the place. He offers her a drink, and they find a warmer spot outside the park to relax. There's a pond outside, and they use a small boat to reach the middle. However, the lizard man expresses his intention to claim Mia for himself and harm anyone who gets in his way. Suddenly, Kirisu appears in a swan boat and confronts the lizard man. After the fight, due to his usual caring manner, he also tries to help the lizard man, but suddenly he turns out to be a girl who only wanted a friend but is embarrassed due to her clothes opening up. When Mia asks if she sent the death letter to Kirisu, she claims to be clueless. After that, Kirisu gives his shirt to Mia, who is feeling cold, and she finds a box inside. Kirisu then opens the box and puts the necklace on Mia's neck, deepening her affection for him even more. Smith eventually takes the lizard girl into her care. Later, Kirisu takes Pappy and Sue on a picnic, accompanied by Zambina to protect them in case the attacker shows up. Suddenly, a monstrous tree made up of industrial waste emerges and attacks them. Kirisu quickly carries Pappy and Sue to safety, but he and Pappy get caught in the process. Sue is thrown directly into the toxic compound within the depths of the monster tree. Inside the tree, they encounter a beautiful monster girl named Kia, who strongly hates humans. It turns out that Pappy and Kia are friends. Pappy found her while flying around when Kia had become weak and separated from her group. Pappy took her to the forest where she regained her strength and matured from a little girl into a woman. Driven by her hatred towards humans, Kia intends to harm Kirisu, and Pappy tries to intervene but is too weak. Suddenly, Sue appears in a giant form equal to the size of Monster Kia as she has soaked up all the nearby water. She reveals that her powers have been amplified due to the toxic waste. To overcome Kia, they need to drain her powers. Pappy tries to suck Kia's melons to drain her, but it doesn't contribute much. Kirisu steps in to do the job, finally draining the delicious toxicity from Kia's melons. Kia becomes weak, and the group is saved. Agent Smith shows up and scolds Kia, but Kirisu intervenes, stating that the root cause of the problem is the improper disposal of garbage. They allow Kia to live peacefully in the forest, and Smith promises her that no one will dump waste there again. As they all suspected Kia to be the one who sent Kirusu the death letter, it is revealed that she can't even write, so she is not the culprit. Next, it's Centuria's turn to go on a date with Kirusu. As they walk down the street, Centuria is wearing huge armor. They receive a call from Mono, who reminds them that the purpose of their date is to find the culprit. However, Centuria's armor makes it challenging for them. Eventually, Centuria gives in and removes her helmet. They go to a park for a picnic, and Centuria gives Kirusu a basket of sandwiches. As Kirusu tastes the sandwich, Centuria asks him if it's tasty, and he lies that it is. Ratchnara, who is also there, comments that Centuria's food lacks taste since she only eats vegetables and the sandwiches taste bland. Disappointed by her failed attempt to create something delicious, Centuria walks away. A troublesome girl named Lilith then hypnotizes Centuria, who gets taken over by her desire to suck Kirusu's lollipop and offers her milk to him, causing Kirusu to panic. In the meantime, a wild boar suddenly appears, targeting Lilith. Kirusu uses his coat to divert the boar's attention towards a tree. Centuria swiftly knocks out the boar with a log. Frustrated with herself, Centuria expresses that she feels useless and wants to be more useful to Kirusu. Kirusu reassures her, embracing and assuring her that she will always be needed. He then asks her to take him home. Meanwhile, Ratchnara captures Lilith and seeks revenge for the trouble that she caused. Back at home, Centuria prepares several dishes using only salads and greens, but the other girls crave meat. They give all the food to Sue, who can consume anything edible. Later, Tanisha takes Kirusu to a cafe where the other monster agents are gathered. They show him another threatening letter and express their desire to date him. Seeing the monster girls enjoying their dates with Kirusu has made them want to experience the same thing. Tanisha is the first to go on a date, and they visit a clothing store. However, she gets stuck in a dress due to her obsession with squatting. Sue offers to help by sewing an extension onto the dress, which delights her. Tanisha appreciates Kirusu's sewing skills and expresses her gratitude with a warm, big hug. Next is Zambina, who takes him to the cinema to watch a zombie horror movie. During their walk, Zambina loses one of her hands as all her body parts are sewn together. Kirusu sews it back on in a dressing room, which impresses her and teases him. Zambina removes the stitches from one of her tennis balls and asks him to sew it. However, Kirusu unexpectedly enjoys the task. Monoko is the next agent to go on a date with Kirusu. Since she doesn't enjoy being around crowds, she asks him to go to a more private location. They sit on a bench and enjoy a cup of tea together. Monoko is insecure because people are often afraid of her due to her one eye, and they can't look at her face. However, when she notices that Kirusu is looking directly into her eye without hesitation, she realizes he is genuine and not like others. Suddenly, a suspicious person runs past them, and the other agents appear to capture her. It turns out to be Doppel, who is spying on them. It is revealed that Smith herself wrote the death letter, and Doppel was also a part of the plan. She reveals that the purpose of this letter was to make Kirusu marry one of the monster girls soon. Doppel reveals that she only sent one letter and knows nothing about the second death letter. At night, Kirusu encounters another monster girl who is headless and has a scythe, just like a death angel. He arrives home with her, which frightens Mia. He leaves her there and decides to search for her head, accompanied by the other girls. After encountering a few scares, Mia finds the head, and when they arrive home, they fix her head to her body. The new monster girl is named Lala, and she claims to be a soul reaper. She reveals that she is the culprit who sent Kirusu the second death letter. She explains that she is a death goddess and is here because someone is about to die and she will take out their soul. To their surprise, that person turns out to be Kirusu. Before Lala can do anything, Ratchnara traps her in her white strings, and all the girls unite to protect Kirusu. Pappy picks up Kirusu and tries to fly him away, but due to her poor night vision, she accidentally crashes. Kirusu lands on Sue, and Centuria then takes him on a non-stop journey until they reach a safe place. However, Lala tracks them down, and Kirusu falls into a river where Mia awaits, thinking that he might not escape his certain death. Mia expresses her desire to enjoy his cream puff before he dies, but just as his cream is about to come all over her, Mia saves Kirusu and brings him out of the river. On the surface, Ratchnara also claims there is no way to prevent what is about to happen and suggests they end Kirusu's life quickly to minimize unnecessary suffering. Maya refuses, stating that taking Kirusu's life means taking hers too. Fed up with the situation, Kirusu walks towards the road and proclaims that they shouldn't be afraid, as he believes he will not die just because a random girl said so. On the road, a truck approaches him, but it turns out to be a small toy truck. Kirusu tells everyone that they should stop believing Lala's story about him dying. Back at home, Smith arrives to solve the situation and reveals that Lala's whole story about Kirusu's death is just her own imagination. As for the threatening letter, Lala was skeptical because Kirusu had faced many dangers and survived, so she wanted to kick the bucket to end his misery. With nowhere else to go, Lala asks to live with Kirusu, which Smith quickly allows as it means less work for her. Later, Kirusu worries about their financial situation and the remaining money. He realizes that they are in severe debt, and with another member added to the household, things only worsen. The girls continue to eat heartily, and a buffet of trouble unfolds at the local market. However, they receive some help as Maron impresses a fish vendor who gives them one of their best fish for free, and surprisingly, the local sellers and vendors show their affection for the girls, offering them extra food items. Meanwhile, Sue reveals to Kirusu that she can eat anything edible, so they don't need to buy food specifically for her. However, Kirusu believes that as a family, they should all eat the same food together. Sue leads Kirusu to the forest where Kai resides, and Kai allows them to take what they need. Kirusu begins to pick food items while Sue helps him distinguish between poisonous and safe plants. They gather a good amount of food, but Sue accidentally transforms into a poisonous form and turns purple. On their way back home, they encounter Draco, who confronts them and expresses her desire to have Mia all to herself. Unsurprisingly, Draco is quickly defeated by a blast of poison that Sue spits at him. Upon returning home, Kirusu prepares a feast with the gathered food, grateful that they will have enough to eat for a while. However, Smith and her group suddenly appear. Kirusu cooks food for everyone like a machine, but unfortunately, all the food they manage to acquire is quickly eaten. Seeing Kirusu upset, Smith asks him why, and Sue reveals that they don't have enough money for food. Hearing this, Smith reveals that all the hosts are allowed to buy necessary food items for free, which generates a miserable expression on Kirusu's face. That's it for this video. Watch the following video, and I'll catch you in the next one.